Welcome, fans, to show number 8 of the Midwest Donut Review. I'm Dave Leggett, back home in St. Louis, Missouri, and joining me in his hometown of Sacramento, California, my son Eric. Eric, how are you doing this fine morning?
Very hot. Very hot.
Oh, Sacramento
Back
cooking
in the
again?
Sacramento heat.
Yes.
Woo!
And quite honestly, the air conditioning in your apartment is super important,
Yes.
and so is
I
the air
thought you were going to
conditioning.
say. I thought you were going to say not very great
No, no,
because you've been here and it's not great.
but it's important.
Yes.
Even a little cool. And maybe even more importantly, that the donut places have air conditioning.
That's definitely more important. I'd say more important than my apartment.
Your priorities are not screwed up in any way, shape, or form.
No. If
So-
someone calls me and be like, "Hey man, we got to shut your stuff off," so this donut shop, I'd be like, "Do what you got to do, man."
You are a gamer. You are a gamer, my son. All right. So back in America after our international show, which I enjoyed last night, I thought it was done very well. You had mentioned
Not to toot
earlier.
our own horn or anything.
Yes, I just mean as far as you had mentioned, maybe the background noise, might diminish, but I thought it was a great addition to the show. That we're not so high on our horse, donut connoisseurs, that we won't get down with the people.
Yes.
So-
We are of the people. That's what we do. That's what we bring to you. We're just
So-
like everybody else.
In case you are a first-time viewer, welcome. What we do is we buy 3 of the same donuts. Eric in California, me here in Missouri, and then we compare, contrast, talk about size, talk about price, and give you our honest reviews. We're not here to put anybody out of business, but we are here to highlight the ones who do it well.
Yes. It's really hard to make a bad donut. That's the bottom line.
But we did succeed in Zachanthos Greece.
Yes. Zach
We-
and those, they cracked the code on how to make a bad donut. A little
That-
bit impressive.
Was a special kind of bad.
Yeah, it was.
It wasn't undercooked. It wasn't stale, but man, it should have been.
Yeah. It should have been something that like they messed up, but no, just top to bottom. This was as good as the donut was gonna get. That's pretty bad.
So the bar super low. So today's show is going to be markedly better. So back in the United States, and as we normally kick off our shows now, Eric, do you have some donut news of the week to start us?
I do have some donut news.
Okay.
Now, fans don't know this, but you and I will know this. Remember Project D?
Project D?
Yes. It was the donut shop in the London airport.
Yes, yes,
That we were
but we couldn't
hopefully-
get to.
Yes, it was in like a different terminal, and we weren't able to get it in time.
Short
Time
layover.
difference and- yeah.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we couldn't try Project E in our short time in London. But they are the subject of my news of the week.
Okay.
It's from Yahoo News. And the title is UK's, quote, biggest donut weighs 40 kilograms, is packed with 170,000 calories, and costs, guess how many pounds?
Well, I'm trying to figure out how many 40 kilograms is, so I have an idea of this.
It doesn't convert kilograms for us, but it does say it's 5 feet in diameter.
Oh my goodness gracious. This is not a one-time thing. This is something they will sell to anybody who wants to buy one?
Yes.
Who puts in an order?
Yes. And that will
Okay.
make sense when I explain more what's going on.
Okay, so 5-foot donut.
Yeah. 40 kilograms.
Boy, and I don't know what the conversion for pounds to US dollars is. So let me say 300 US dollars.
Okay. Well, they don't convert to pounds to dollars. It's 500
Okay.
pounds.
$500. Okay.
500
Okay.
British pounds. Let's see. It contains. Here's Now you're reading this, and something seems off. The potential record breaker contains raspberry jam, chocolate filling, and 7 different toppings. These include vanilla cream, chocolate icing, chocolate fudge brownies, raspberries, golden dairy milk chunks, and swirls of caramel cream, which adorn the top of the gigantic snack. And you're thinking, that seems like way too much on one donut.
Yes, it is such a mishmash of flavors.
Yes. Mark Bro from Nottingham ordered the monster treat for his wife, Rebecca, as a surprise 40th birthday gift last week. She lauded the donut as the best birthday cake she's ever received and revealed that none of it went to waste despite its size. Rebecca said it had to
We
be
got to
wedged.
get this couple on our show. Oh, my God. Oh, my God, they got to tell that
Had to be
story.
wedged through a pair of double doors at her husband's office-based business where she shared it among staff. So it wasn't
Okay.
just 2 people taking this
Okay,
donut down.
still, I would love to hear that story.
She said it was insane. It was absolutely incredible. I couldn't believe the size of it when they brought it in. So you don't have a picture of this. So what are you imagining in your head?
A big glazed donut, a monster glazed donut, maybe a foot tall, 5 feet around.
So a regular donut just
Yes.
scaled up. Super
Yes, yes.
big. That's not what this is.
Will you be
this
able to
is-
post a picture on our show?
I will post a picture
Okay,
of this.
okay.
This is a bunch of regular-sized donuts on a platter made to look like one giant donut. Hey gang, hey guys, that's not the biggest donut because it's not a single donut.
No, that just took the air out of the story.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a stack of donuts.
It's just a bunch of donuts that you've arranged in a circle. This is not the world's biggest donut because it's not a single donut. It's like 40 donuts.
Man. Now I don't know if I want them as a guest.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, and this whole article does not mention that in the slightest. If
Until you
read
see
this-
the picture.
Yeah, if you read this with no pictures, you would just assume it's a giant donut. But it's not. It's a bunch of regular size. Now, granted, Project D that we saw, their donuts were pretty sizable.
Yes. Yes, that
But-
would have been a nice get for us.
Yes. But it's still just a bunch of those donuts arranged in a donut shape on a big platter. This
Well-
is not the world's biggest donut, and the fact that it's trotting around like it could be is
No.
disgraceful to me.
So the 500 British pounds translates to 660 US dollars. So a $660 stack of donuts.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay. Thank you for that donut news of the week. Here's a couple that I've come across. In Charlotte, North Carolina, there's a bakery called Suarez, and they have something called a Texas donut cake. It is a tower of donuts, customizable fillings and creams, any way you want, and it serves 8 people. So these are gargantuan donuts stacked on top of each other to serve 8. So, like I would imagine that's probably like a 4-layer cake, I guess, but all donuts and your own. You can pick the fillings and the toppings. I think that's customizable. That's cool. In Honolulu, at a bakery called Kamahamaha.
Oh, give it one more go. I bet you'll get it on the third one.
Kamihamaha in Honolulu.
There it is.
Yeah, not to be confused with Kamilamahama, which is down the street. Their donuts, they use a poi glaze, and taro root is added to the batter, and so it gives it a distinct flavor, and it also a striking purple color. So it's a gorgeous looking donut, and I believe you and I actually have had taro root. I know we had taro root ice cream
Yeah,
together
there's
in
some
California.
places- out here in Sacramento that offer taro as a
Oh,
flavor.
taro. Sorry.
I think it's
Um,
taro.
and finally, I think we mentioned this last time. It's called Gordo's in Texas. Their big seller currently is called the Mother Clucker. It is fried chicken covered in honey butter, and they serve it on a hot garlic donut.
God damn, that sounds good.
That
Woo!
sounds crazy,
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Mother Clucker. So there's our crazy donuts. And as the meat and potatoes of this donut show is trying our three donuts. And we always glazed is one of the three every time because if you can't
Yes.
do a glazed donut right,
Yeah, there's no point in reviewing.
so where have you gone today?
So today, I went to Village Express Donuts. It is at 5990 B 14th Avenue here in Sacramento, California. Um, a pretty, it's kind of in like a strip mall kind of thing. And my glazed donut was pretty okay.
Ah,
I, it's, um, it did not taste, it did not have the texture of what I thought it was going to be. So this was a pretty big, thick donut. This was around 3 3/4 inches across, and this was a tall donut. So I see a glazed donut that's thick and tall like it was, and I'm expecting it to be super light and airy and fluffy on the inside, and it really was not. It was pretty dense in there, which again I don't hate. It's not my go-to for a glazed donut, but it was definitely like kind of a shock when I first bite into that. I'm expecting just a super light bite, a super fluffy dough to get through super easily, and it was not at all. It was much more dense than I think it needed to be. Again, I wish a glazed donut had some more air in it, just because a glazed donut is always like a complimentary kind of thing for me. It's never a donut where we've talked a little bit about this where someone would go in, get 2 donuts and a coffee. I feel like you wouldn't get 2 glazed donuts and a coffee. Like that wouldn't be enough for you. But with this glazed donut, I feel like it could have been just because of how dense that dough was. Which is also a little dangerous too, because when you have that thick of a donut and the dough in there is still so thick, you know, you fry that thing for 10 seconds less and you might be bordering on raw dough, which luckily was not an issue with mine. It was fully cooked through, but with how big it got and with how dense it was, I feel like, you know, I catch this place on a bad day, that could be a possibility.
what is the size? You had mentioned you thought it was bigger than a normal glaze. What? How?
I'm probably like 1.5 to 2 inches tall. Like this was a really thick donut, which I think when you see that on the outside, it lends itself to being super fluffy, but it just wasn't. It was pretty dense in there.
Okay.
So I think I want to give this one a 3.1.
Wow, that's not strong.
No, the glaze I thought was pretty good. Not much on the bottom, which is unfortunate. But I with how thick the donut was, I think I would have preferred a little more glaze just to combat it a little more.
Okay.
So yeah, I think I'll go 3-1 for this one.
So I'm looking back over other scores, and it's a very middling score for a glazed donut. So
Yeah,
not a reason to go.
no,
Okay. All right. Well, I visited the Sweet Spot. They're at 3586 80 Road in St. Anne. And at one point, I remember this for National Donut Day earlier this year. Sweet Spot may have been named by some publication as the best donut place in America. Maybe Bon Appetit or something, but yeah, and they were on the rotation that day, and I wasn't. I was expecting amazing, and it was just pretty good. But here we are, on National Donut Day, you're putting away a dozen. You're putting away 18 donuts. So it does tend to run together a little bit. So all of my donuts, they have. First, I want to mention this before I forget. Can you get a view of this? Do you see how it's a grid pattern on the top? What I don't know that I've ever seen it. Do you have any idea what this glaze pattern does to the donut? I'll let you finish eating, but think about it. So, my review of this donut, it is 3.5 inches by 4.25 inches. It's kind of an oblong donut. It's an inch and a half tall. The glaze is outstanding. Just a little sweet, not overly sweet, doesn't disappear. It is a great glaze. Who's ever making the glaze at the Sweet Spot, boom. It is a very fluffy and airy donut. It looks fluffy. It feels fluffy in the mouth. And you had mentioned yours is kind of dense. This is not at all. This is a really excellent glazed donut. I am super happy. I'm looking back over some of the scores of my glazed donuts, and Old Town Donuts was my biggest at 4.4. This is a 4.5.
Wow.
This is such a great glazed donut. When you walk in and you see 40 different flavors, you kind of pass over the glaze because you're like, ooh, what's new? What's interesting? What's a different take? You can order the glaze at the Sweet Spot and you will absolutely be in love. It is a great glazed donut. It's the best glazed donut we've had of the 8 shows we've done.
Wow.
So, boom, Sweet Spot. Yeah. And so they give you a discount at 6 donuts. Usually you have to buy a dozen to get a discount. Yep. So you buy the 6 donuts. I bought more than 6 today. I got to be honest. Yeah. But the 6 price is $1.29 a piece. So $1.29 for the best glazed donut I've had so far.
That's pretty good.
Oh man, it'll be tough to live up to it the rest of the show, but Sweet Spot glazed donuts are outstanding. Woo!
Yeah. Speaking of price, all 3 of mine today were $1.50 each.
Okay, that's not bad. You certainly hit $2 plus donuts a lot in our shows. So
$1.50 I'd say is pretty standard.
Okay. $1.29 is a really good price, and when you add it to what an outstanding glazed donut this is, oh man, give lessons to some other donut shops. That's the lesson I'm trying to take away from this. So I had mentioned while you had a big mouthful of donut that the grid pattern on the top.
Yes. So what my mind goes to, and now this is all like hypothetical because I don't know for sure because Donut Palace when I worked there didn't have this contraption.
Okay.
But I've seen some places where they have it's this kind of table thing where one side is a basin full of either icing or it could be glaze in this case. And the other side is you put the tray of finished donuts. And then in the middle, there's strings. So you put the strings over that big basin of glaze and then flip the donuts over there and push them down. So it gets all that glaze, but they don't fall in because of those strings. And then flip them back.
Okay.
So maybe what I'm thinking is that strings on glaze kind of gives it that pattern.
Okay. And here's taking it one step further, if that is indeed the case, Oh my God. If they would have lowered those donuts a half inch and covered the bottoms also, if they would have dunked
That
that
would have
whole
been,
donut, this would have been my first perfect score.
yeah. Yeah,
There's bonus points for having glaze on the bottom. It doesn't, and it's an outstanding donut. But man, if they dunked that whole thing, oh my God,
it would have to be hard to not get a 5 with that.
outstanding. All right, so our next donut that we're going to review today is the jelly donut,
Yes.
and so we do not cut the jelly donut in half for pictures like we do all the other donuts because the key to a good filled donut is how much filling is in there.
Yes. So I
So,
will mention right off the bat, this little bit is the only bit that didn't have a big fucking mouthful of filling.
okay,
And
that's good.
this is a big, tall donut too. And so I go into it, especially with the last one being as dense as it was, and I wasn't expecting it. I'm like, oh no, is this going to be a big, thick donut where 90% of it's just going to be dough? Luckily, it wasn't. They filled the shit out of this thing. And I am so grateful because it was a really good filling too. However, this one looks like the glaze fell off. I this was carried hard by the filling. Because if the filling wasn't as sweet as it was, this would have been a pretty not good donut. Because I don't know how this happened. The tray they took it off of was pretty empty. But I can show you here, like, there's not much glaze on this thing. But it looks like
No.
there was glaze on it at some point, and it melted off or dripped off. Now, I mean, melting off could absolutely be something that could happen, especially in this god awful heat. Which sucks, but like, it's kind of the main component of the donut. Again, it was a super dense donut, really not as light as I'd like it to be. Really, the filling of this and how much there was saved it. So, if this was still had glaze and a little lighter, this probably would have been up there in terms of all the donuts we've ever had. But because it's not, I mean, the score is definitely going to take a pretty big hit. Because not having glaze, it's one thing to just not have glaze on the donut, but to have the glaze visibly be gone from the donut, like it was there once and it's no longer there because of circumstances, I guess.
I just hope it's not a disgruntled employee licking the glaze off and then putting it in
Yeah,
the
that
face.
would be really bad. That would be bad. It didn't taste like that, luckily. I think I want to give this one like a 3-3. Again,
Okay.
like, if you go in there and you find one that doesn't have the glaze taken off of it, this is a really good jelly filled donut. But this, I don't know what happened. The glaze is
Yeah.
gone.
All we can do is review what they give us.
Yep, and it looked like it was the only one there. Maybe they were making more in the back, but I got there at a pretty average time.
You should have more than one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So a 3.3 and a 3.1. Not an outstanding start for your joint.
No, and I want to say before you get into this next donut, this was the only. So I thought this was a chocolate ice chocolate cake donut, and because I thought it was chocolate cake, and I thought it was the only chocolate cake they had, I had to make a decision on the fly, which is
Okay.
unfortunately going to cost it some. It turns out this was a vanilla cake with chocolate icing, so there is those available. I thought it was chocolate cake, so that's why I got it. Unfortunately, it does look like this.
I told you, stop doing gummies before you go to the donut place. What
I
in the fuck have you done?
I thought this was my only option, and I was going to take the hit for the integrity of the show for us to get at least a similar kind of donut.
Wow.
I thought I was doing something good.
Greece has taught you nothing.
Nope.
You will, this is a lesson you will not learn.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, to overcome my disappointment, I'm going to review this jelly donut, and it is also excellent. The dude making the glaze at the sweet spot deserves a raise. It is excellent. It's just the perfect combination of sweet but not too sweet. Doesn't overpower. It adds. It doesn't take away at all from the donut. Whoever doing the dough at the sweet spot, boom. Also, raise coming for you, sir. Inside, great. It's a raspberry jelly. This was 4 inches. Um, let's see. Yeah. So it's 4 by 3.5 oblong. It's 1 3/4 inches tall. Pretty big donut. Again, $1.29. Great price. Great glaze. Inside, fabulous. It is a raspberry jelly. Some jellies are just so sweet you don't even know the flavor of the jelly. It actually has a little bit of tart in it. So wherever they're getting, I don't believe they make their own raspberry jelly, but wherever they're getting it from, great manufacturer because it's a little tart, but certainly sweet. Could they have used a little bit more in there? Absolutely. Is it going to detract from this donut? Just a shade. Because this donut for me today, this jelly donut from the Sweet Spot, I'm giving a 4.2.
Oh.
It is, again, if all you do is go in to the Sweet Spot and get jelly donuts, glazed jelly donuts, you're going to have a great day. I don't know. I'm not going to look at every score, but a 4.2 jelly is, I know it beat the jelly we had from Mario's, and it's not even close. That's a great jelly donut. So our third donut, that was my side eye, by the way.
Yeah. In
my stink
review,
eye.
I'm not going to take the sprinkles into account for the review. I can't. It's not fair to the donut shop because they offer this donut without sprinkles. I thought I was looking at a different donut. Look, I got to get back into the swing of things. Okay? I'm off my game a little bit. So I'm not taking the sprinkles into account for this review. It's not fair to Village Express Donuts. That being said, this was a really fucking good cake donut. We talk about what's so good about cake donuts is when they're done well, you can eat them plain and they're still good. This was absolutely one of those cake donuts. I took a bite of that and you tasted, that is vanilla cake and it tasted great. And the chocolate icing was chocolate. Sometimes with icings, they can be too sweet and you're just tasting sugar. This was not the case at all. This was a really good mix of chocolate and vanilla in that cake. It was a really good texture. It wasn't too dense. It wasn't super light. This cake donut has kind of saved Village Express here in the last bit. Again, I would advise not getting sprinkles. So I'm not just because don't do that unless you're 5 years old. They offer this with no sprinkles, so get that one because it'll be better. Just in general. So I'm going to give this one a 3.9.
Okay. This certainly your high score of the day.
Yes, this was a really good cake donut.
Okay, that's a saver for the donut shop today.
Yes.
My last, it's a 3.5 inch round chocolate cake with chocolate icing donut. It is 1 1/4 inches tall, not particularly big, and The Sweet Spot has a lot to live up to. Could not bring it home. It is a chocolate cake with chocolate icing, and there is not enough of either in the cake batter or the icing. You had talked about a really good chocolatey fudgy icing, and this is one of those sugary chocolate icings. So the dude making the glaze needs to help the person making the chocolate icing because we go back to the cake donut. If you can eat the cake donut by itself with nothing on it and it tastes great, that's really the sign of good cake.
Yeah.
This cake donut needs help. Again, $1.29. Not it's a really great price, but the cake by just eating the donut cake by itself, it's not outstanding. It's a little too crispy for me. It starts to get into that sort of old fashioned crispy outside, soft in the middle. To me, that cake donut's got to be a cake the whole way through.
Yeah.
It's a delicate.
Cake donut's got to be soft.
It's a delicate balance. I don't fry cake donuts in my house, so I don't know how difficult it is, but this is just too crispy of a donut. It's just too crispy. So it's not a reason to go to the Sweet Spot. It's a 3.1, so very average donut. But all in all, I would say based on the three, this is our top spot so far here in St. Louis.
Yeah,
overall.
Spot. It really it took things under control.
So that is, and we have the peanut gallery in the background enjoying other flavors and loving other flavors. Oh my God. Really, she's just eating a donut. So we get to the part of the show where it's trivia time. Bum, dum, dum, dum.
I think you should just take away a point for me for getting a sprinkled donut today. I deserve some sort of consequences.
Well,
what I did, it cannot happen again. It won't happen again. I promise you, fans, I won't do that again.
I don't know if that's a big promise to make, man.
No,
that's
a promise
I'm
making.
This is only, what is this? Is this our 8th show?
Yeah.
Plus the international. So 9 shows, and you're saying...
This is the 8th, including the international.
Okay. So what you're saying is early on in our run, you're already saying, I'm never going to show you a donut with stuff on the top again.
I'm going to make to the show.
All right.
I'm not going to let it happen again.
Okay.
It's a real low moment for me, if I'm being completely honest.
And for me as a father.
Yeah.
Here are our 3 donuts from around the world. First one you should get.
Yeah.
I will tell you, it is a fried ball of rice flour. They sweeten it with a bean paste with jasmine, and they top it with sesame seeds. The name of this is called a Bon Ron. Okay. Where is it from?
I'm gonna say Japan.
No.
What?
Do you know where the banh mi sandwich comes from?
Well, I thought it was from Japan, so now I'm gonna say no.
It is in Asia.
Yeah.
This is a Vietnamese donut.
Ah!
I thought maybe the rice would help, but yeah. So again, sesame seeds on a donut. That's a swing, but it is their tradition. So
yeah, I've never been a fan of the bean paste. There's some stuff out here that's had it in desserts. I'm not a big fan of that.
Well, tradition. So our second donut is called a funk.
Funk?
Funk. It is flavored with rum. They make their donuts with no holes. It is dusted with sugar and filled with thick jam. Where is the funk found?
Funk. So I want to say just European.
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
flavor it with rum. Where's rum pretty big? I have no idea. And I can't even ask for like a geography hint because I don't know where any countries are. Funk. This is I would. Like funk, please.
It's a smaller European country.
Oh, yep.
Population size wise.
Finland.
Close. Hungary.
Oh.
The funk. All right. This last one you'll get from the name. Okay. It is a fried dough ball. It is filled with jam or custard. The translation of this name means little carnival cake.
Ah,
It's served during Lent on St. Joseph's Day in this country, which is March 19th, which is a date you should know.
That's the Ides of March, right?
Well, yeah, but I was thinking, maybe your mom and dad, 319 might.
Oh, yeah. That's your anniversary.
It's an anniversary, yeah. Where in the world can you get a Faschingkrapfen?
Oh, wow.
Faschingkrapfen.
Germany.
Oh, so close.
Damn
Austria.
It.
It's Austria. So I just thought with the Krapfen, that might.
That sounds like when Conan O'Brien does like a German impression and he just makes up noises and words in a German accent. That sounds like something he would say. So that's why I thought Germany.
I'm not that good. All right, so trivia not outstanding today.
No,
your donut place not outstanding. The sprinkles, peed in the Cheerios, as it were.
Yeah.
But that brings us to the close of our show, and welcome back, right?
Yes, our episodes will hopefully come out with more consistency. We are not on a 3 or 4 week break or whatever it was.
Yes.
Back to weekly episodes.
So all of you people who are starving for the Midwest Donut Review shows, they'll be coming at you left and right. You're going to have to duck.
Yes. And so you should share them with all your friends and your family. And you should subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. So you make sure you don't miss one. Because they still come out, weekly. But I don't get them out on the same day. I don't get paid for this, so... They come out every week,
and we're always looking for suggestions.
Yes.
Tell us a place to go, a donut to buy, and we'll put you on the rotation for sure.
Absolutely.
So that wraps up today's Midwest Donut Review show. That is Eric in Sacramento. I'm Dave in St. Louis. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again very soon. Thanks.